Good morning, folks. Welcome back to the channel. Please consider subscribing if you're new to me. So it looks like Andy Burnham has won the Makerfield by-election down in England, and I've just watched a video by Paul Thorpe, who I follow, who's out in Spain, and he's saying that how much of basically a disaster this is, and he's going to be much worse than Kier Starmer, and he's a dangerous man, and like all I keep hearing is how dangerous Andy Burnham's going to be, and much worse than Kier Starmer, and he's going to lead Labour to the next victory at the next general election. If we don't get our act together on the right, then we're screwed and all that. Do you know what? I don't actually think it matters one jot, to be honest with you. In fact, I think that, like Kier Starmer, Andy Burnham, it's a distinction without a difference. The only thing I would say is, right, I haven't really done any research into Andy Burnham or what he stands for or anything like that. But I watched another video by a young chap. He's a teenager. He's called Thomas Chester, I believe. He does political commentary, and he done a video on some policies that Burnham might try to bring through, and some of them didn't actually sound too bad, to be honest with you. They didn't. I have to admit, they didn't sound too bad. Now, I am not a Labour supporter, okay? I want Labour out, because even if they bring forward some policies that might sound okay, there's the whole support for mass immigration and the whole eroding of, like, British culture, if you like. I don't even like using that term because I don't think there is such a thing, but English culture, if you like, if you live down there, native culture, let's say that, right? So they are pro refugee, they're pro. I think Burnham's like a total open borders guy, so there's all that stuff's totally negative, and that would completely outweigh any of the sort of semi-sensible, if you like, policies that might help slightly less well-off people, such as like extending free bus travel and things like that. So basically, I don't see that it's all that bad, to be honest with you, because Kier Starmer he is terrible. He is disgusting. So he's a robot. He's worse than a Dalek, right? He sounds like a Dalek when he speaks, right? And I said this in one of my other videos. I can't remember what one it was, and somebody commented saying he sounds like a Dalek. Pot kettle black. Yeah, I know sometimes I might come across as a bit like monotone in that light. I can't help it. Do you know what I mean? I'll try and sort of be a bit more upbeat if I can do, right? But Starmer is a disaster of a guy. Do you know what I mean? Like I've said before, I don't think there's anything likeable about the guy. There's nothing statesman-like about him. He's no charisma. You can't warm to him. He's basically he's a robot. He's got like no personality. At least Burnham seemed to be popular with the people, do you know what I mean? And I think he has made improvements for and certain things that he's done for Manchester, and I think the consensus is that the people there do, on by and large, think highly of him. So anybody that's more statesman-like and more likeable and has a bit of charisma, a bit of character about them, isn't a robot like Kier Starmer, I think's probably and just for that bunch of attributes alone, I don't think you could get any worse than Kier Starmer, to be honest. I really don't. And I think, like I say, if he's going to, the Thomas Chester guy that I follow sometimes, I watched the video that he said a couple of his policies might result in further youth unemployment, because I think Burnham is of the idea that he wants to let asylum seekers work. Now, I don't agree with that at all, I really don't, right? But if Burnham brings in policies that start alienating like the youth and things like that, I think he's going to, like, I mean, young people ain't stupid, you know what I mean? If you promise things and they're not delivered, he's not going to last either, do you know what I mean? But I think, to be honest, I don't think he's going to be any worse than Kier Starmer. I really don't. And as for bringing a victory for Labour at the next election, I mean, like I've said in other videos, it doesn't matter, folks. Do you know what I mean? Restore were never going to win the next election. They just weren't. Do you know what I mean? See all this stuff about millions must go and all that. One thing I will say about Paul Thorpe, I do agree with him on one thing, right? That sort of rhetoric and that sort of talk does not win over your average normie person. For people that are tuned into the negatives of mass migration and the detriments and the wider destruction it causes within society and things like that, then that's fine, do you know what I mean? But all this millions must go and deportations and all that, that does not turn on the average normie voter. It does not. People are concerned about their jobs, the economy, the cost of living and all that. They're concerned about things like that, their local communities and stuff like that. So all that sort of really hardline rhetoric is not going to do them any favours with the normie voter. So there's that, and there just isn't enough time for Restore to build up to a level where they could challenge the mainstream parties like Labour. And the Conservatives are pretty much finished anyway, but I think, to be honest, it's pretty much a given that Labour are going to win the next election. I mean, look how badly, look at what Reform done. Do you know what I mean? Like in the Makerfield, and because they've got Burnham now, which is more charismatic and all that. I think it's the whole democracy thing's just, it's not for us anymore, and I cannot tell you what is for us. That's up for debate, I'm afraid. But just watch what you're saying. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, thanks for watching.